Hello, my friends, my family, all my loved ones. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Tatiana Sonjalia, and welcome to my channel where we talk about spirituality, self-development, and everything else. So, today's video is going to be really fun. This is going to be a story time about how I began my spiritual journey. Or we could even call it how my spiritual awakening started. That could be a good title. So I've never really talked about this before. I don't think I've really ever gone through this story with anyone. So this is crazy that I'm about to share this with you. It is an honor for me to come on here and share this story because I've never really gotten the opportunity to have a one-on-one with anybody specific to really dive deep into what this journey was and how it started. So first, let me take a sip of my coconut water because your girl ran out of watermelon sugar. So I have to drink this, which is just as good. So let me just, love that. So, my spiritual journey. Let's take it back all the way to the beginning. Let's take it all the way back. I'm sorry. That was a rewind noise. Yeah, I guess it applied. Anyways, so my spiritual journey. Let's take it back. Okay, so for those of you who may not know, I grew up in a very structured religion. It was a Christian-based religion. I won't name the name of the religion just for consideration, I guess, for the people still in it and my family who's still in it. Shout out to y'all. But I grew up in a very strict Christian-based religion. And so as a child, I was not allowed to participate in many of the things that society does. So, for example, certain shows that had what was perceived as witchcraft, wasn't allowed to watch those movies. Different forms of media that had other religious beliefs, music, everything you can think of that's media. It was supposed to be very filtered to us, so wasn't allowed to watch those things. But I always kind of found interest in movies and shows that did have things like that. So I will say my favorite show growing up was That's So Raven, because like her visions, like I knew. So I did like that. And specifically, I remember one time I was at my little sister's house where she grew up, and on the TV they were playing Harry Potter, and I remember I was like alone in the room for whatever reason, and I like was trying not to watch the TV, but I was like peeking at it. I was like, what's this? What is this, Harry Potter? And I remember as soon as I like looked over, like time stopped and I was immersed into the world of Harry Potter. And I was like, yo, like, oh my God. After like somebody walked in the room, I was like, oh my God, did they see me watching it? But anyways, now my favorite movie is Harry Potter, and I'm a Gryffindor / Slytherin. Ain't that crazy? And I was born at the end of July, just like Harry. But anyways, sorry. But so I want to say that my spiritual journey began at a very young age. So I remember, specifically, I will say that my dad, who wasn't in the religion anymore, got me a set of crystals. And it was something that had really caught my eye, and so he bought it for me. And every time we would, go to the store and something caught our eyes or whatever, he would make sure to get it for us. So I think maybe we were in Chinatown in New York City, and we might have came across this crystal set, and it basically had like one rough and one tumble of like different main crystals, amethyst, clear quartz, rose quartz, you know, all the basic ones. And so I remember I brought it home, and for my entire young childhood, I remember that was my favorite toy. Like, forget the Barbies, forget the freaking fake makeup. The crystals were really my favorite toy back then because I thought nothing of it. I really didn't know anything about crystals or you know, that type of spirituality with the things that I actually do today, which is use crystals and meditate and, you know, all those things that I'm interested in now. I was sheltered from as a child. And so one thing that I remember specifically about these crystals was that when I brought them home and I would play with them in my house, well, first of all, I really never told anybody about them. My mom knew that I had them, but that wasn't really something that I shared with others. But I specifically remember that when I was playing with the crystals, I played with them in a way where, now that I'm looking back, it was as if like intuitively I knew what to do with these crystals. So for example, when I was playing with these crystals, I would, you know, like hold a crystal, right? And I got my angel aura quartz right here with me. I would hold my crystal, and then I remember I would hold it close to me, and I would, you know, like do prayers, or I would hold it and, you know, just picture the crystal doing something and giving me its whatever it had, you know, very basic like concepts I was kind of like holding on to in my mind, I guess. But I also remember like I would put them in my pockets and I would carry them with me. And each day, you know, I would feel drawn to a different crystal depending on how I felt that day. And as a kid, I didn't realize what that was, and I didn't realize what I was doing. I just thought they were pretty rocks, actually. I thought they were rocks. And it's just amazing now to be an adult. I'm 24 years old now, and thinking back of my childhood doing things like that, not really knowing what I was doing, but feeling called to do it. So I think that's really interesting. And maybe some of you guys can relate to that. If you do, put it in the comments, let me know. So that was my really young childhood. That's as far back as I can remember as far as spirituality. Now I did experience some like paranormal stuff, but that's for another video. If y'all want to hear about it, put a comment down below. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. But so let's fast forward a little bit to my teens. So this is when I'm in high school, right? And I had moved from the Bronx to Georgia. And I had my own room finally. I had never had my own room before. And as I, you know, was growing up, and I was able to decorate my own room. So what was crazy was that the way that I decorated my room, you know, I didn't really use Pinterest back then, and I didn't really, I don't really remember making a mood board because I don't think I really knew what that was back in high school. But everything that I picked out for my room was spiritual aesthetic. Like, I'm talking, I had 3 different Buddhas, a Tibetan Buddha, a Chinese Buddha, and all different types of Buddhas in different parts of my room. I had incense burning. I had my crystals laid out in a grid, which I didn't even know what that was back then. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was making shapes with these freaking crystals that I still had from my childhood that my dad bought me. And I remember at night when there was like specific full moons, I remember I would push my bed all the way to the window, just so that I could see the full moon through my window. And I remember, you know, those nights I would like put my incense to burn, and I remember I would like put the crystal in the smoke, not even knowing what I'm doing, like, which is insane because I just recently watched Twitches and Coraline and all the movies that you could think of that have to do with, you know, like witchcraft or things of that nature, like I didn't watch until just recently. So the fact that I was doing these things in high school secretively, because I don't think anybody in high school would have perceived me as the type of girl to be doing that in the privacy of her own room. I think the only people who really knew about the aesthetic of my room was my friends, and it was like 2 girls. so, you know, I really kept that part of myself hidden from the world. Obviously, like my parents probably were aware of it, but I don't really think that was something that I really wanted to project to the world or like represent myself as in public. So those are some things that I remember doing when I was in high school. And like I said, I didn't understand what I was doing. I wasn't, you know, I didn't really have a lot of knowledge at all about these kind of things. Occasionally I would like Google, like, what does this crystal mean? What does this crystal mean? But I never really like Googled how to use them, how to cleanse them, what nights to cleanse them, or any of those things like that. And I remember even writing petitions, and I would write petitions and burn them and bury them and things like that, not knowing what the heck I'm doing. Meanwhile, you know, I come from a background where, you know, all those things, all those spiritual practices are heavily demonized. So even something as, you know, something as minor as, you know, I can't even think. I'm sorry, my brain's fogging. But things that would seem very minor to society now were very demonized in that organization, the religion that I was in. And so, you know, I also had this feeling growing up of like guilt for what I was doing in my privacy of my room. But it wasn't that I felt guilty for doing it. It wasn't like I felt bad about doing it. I felt bad about it feeling right, you know, if that makes sense. Like I felt guilty for following what felt good and right in that moment. And then, you know, just having those things that you were raised to believe come up in the back of your mind, like, oh my God, am I doing something horrible? Am I doing something that God's not proud of me for doing? Like, am I a bad person? Like all these thoughts used to come across in my mind when I would do these things. And I just remember feeling like, you know, it feels right, so I'm gonna do it, but I'm not going to share this with anybody. I'm not going to march out proud and about doing this stuff in public. I'm not going to talk about it with my family. I'm not going to portray this type of person to the world. I'm going to keep her hidden. So that was that. And let's fast forward to the really good part. Okay. This is the part where I think God aligned me to fast forward and just like dive into my spiritual awakening. So in the year of 2019, I had a experience with psilocybin, and that journey brought me so much insight into who I was meant to become, who I already was, but who I needed to feel free to be. And part of that awakening also included a message about how it was important. I don't know what word is more important than important, but it was important for me to dive into my own healing journey, which is something I've never done. And I held on to a lot of resentment and feelings of unworthiness that, you know, come from generational trauma and generational cycles that needed to be broken. So at that time, I had gotten the message that, hey, it's time that you wake up. Literally, it's time that you start to almost grow up. Like, God was like, you need to grow up. You are not aware of how the person that you are portraying to the world is not good for you. Is not going to be beneficial to your future. So that was just so impactful, because from that point on, the course was set and I had no other choice but to go through a tremendous healing journey, which contained so much pain and releasing, and oh my God, so much happened after that. But I really think that experience with the psilocybin, which for some of you guys who don't know, comes from a mushroom, and just that experience of seeing myself from outside of who I was trying to make the world believe I was, it was so interesting. And oh my God, so much else happened during that time. I saw a past life. I realized that we are all one. There's a freaking gnat. we are all one. And it's crazy because as time goes on, I'm starting to forget how vivid and like I'm starting to not remember as much as I could about that experience the longer time goes on. So I have bits and pieces of it, but when it first happened, oh my God, it was so clear. But I just remember hearing someone say, we are one, and I remember feeling so emotional with the idea that was true, and that, oh my God, I if you guys want me to make a video about that, I can, but I'm not going to get into it because it's just, there's so much that I learned from that experience. But anyways, moving on to the following year, 2020. This was when COVID-19 happened and hit the world, right? The world stopped. Well, what really happened for me was my life didn't stop. My life amplified another level of spiritual awakening. So at that time, I had plunged, dived, and dove into my spiritual awakening fast. And it was so fast that year is literally a blur. That year is such a freaking blur. But at that time, I did start doing my spiritual practices that have helped me to get to the point that I am now, which is meditation, yoga, journaling, channeling, and also learning about my intuitive guidance and how to really take a hold of that and use that gift to really hear spirit and understand what path that they have for me and my life. And so at that time during 2020, I had caught COVID, and I had already began certain spiritual practices. But the funny thing is that before I got COVID, I was trying to meditate and I was trying to do, all those nourishing spiritual practices that really help you to just kind of anchor and ground yourself. And I just was not having a good time. It was not easy for me. I was having a really hard time. I don't think I was truly getting the hang of meditation at that time. I wasn't getting the hang of committing to spiritual practices. My diet was horrible. I was barely drinking water. And, at that time, I was just having such a hard time because there was a side of me that knew what I was supposed to do. And then there was a side of me that just felt incapable of doing those things. So COVID-19 hit me. I caught it. And the crazy thing, that was a crazy story. That can be another story time, but just know that that was a crazy ass story about when I got COVID-19. And during that time, because I was so sick, and I believe I got so sick because my immune system was low, given that I was eating horrible, I was barely drinking water, so I was probably already dehydrated when I had got it. But I had got the symptoms that make you not eat and make you go to the bathroom. So basically for 4 days and 4 nights, I hadn't had any food in my stomach, nothing, not even water. I would drink a sip of water and it would come right back up. So basically I had an empty stomach for 4 days. And on the 4th day, well, the 4th night, I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it was almost gonna be 4. And I remember feeling an overwhelming emotion of happiness mixed with sadness and gratitude. And it was so overwhelming that I actually took a video of myself because I was a little bit scared. I'm like, why did I just wake up and why am I crying? But anyways, that experience was so beneficial to me. It really was. So basically at that time I started crying and I started coming to the realization of just how blessed I am. I've never felt such an overwhelming feeling of gratitude in my life. Meanwhile, I'm sick in the bed, haven't eaten for 4 days. I'm all alone. I haven't seen my boyfriend, I haven't seen my mom, I haven't seen my dad, I haven't seen anybody who I love. I haven't been able to come into contact with anyone except through the phone. And here I am pouring my heart out in tears to God, thanking the divine for everything in my life. And that was just so impactful to my journey, because the next morning I remember waking up and there was like light rays coming through my window. It was like super sunny day, so the sun was shining and the light rays were coming through my window. And as I was focusing on the light rays, I remember seeing, not in person, but more of so like inside, I was seeing something by the window. And it was someone very near and dear to my heart, who's passed on. And they gave me a message. And when I got the message, I was literally dumbfounded. I was literally like, my jaw could have dropped on the floor and fell into the bed because I was dumbfounded. And I remember getting on the phone and immediately texting my mom like, oh my God, this person just said this. Like, I didn't know if I was going crazy at that point, but I just felt so called to tell my mom what had just happened. And that was my first experience communicating and hearing energy from not the physical realm, if that makes sense. And it changed my life. It really changed my life. And I remember the next night I FaceTimed with one of my aunts, and we were having a conversation about what had happened to me that morning. And she really spoke life into me, because at that point I didn't really know if I was going crazy, but she really spoke life into me because she helped me confirm what it was that I was feeling. And I just have to thank her here, because if she would have not gave me that talk, that pep talk, that conversation changed my life, Titi. You have no idea. I'm on this path because you spoke life into my experience. So I have to thank you for that. I'm getting emotional. But from that experience on, my path became so clear, and the source of life, the divine, God, the Lord, Spirit, that voice has become so clear that it's insane. It's insane in the most beautiful possible way. So that was that. And during that time, in between 2020 and 2021, I dealt with so much, because as I opened up the doorway for spirit to enter into my life in such a intimate way with me, so much of my ego came out, and I was experiencing, I don't know if they're called death of the egos, but I was coming to so many realizations, and all the trauma that was put into me, throughout my life, the generational trauma and the toxicity that was within me, just started to pour out of me. And I look back at it now, and I wish I could literally hug myself and tell myself, like, this is necessary. You're gonna be okay. You have to release all of this in order to get to where you're gonna be in a few years. And so I'm just so thankful for that experience, because had I not came face to face with that side of me, which for so long I tried to bottle it up and act like it wasn't there, like that part of me, that toxic, dark shadow wasn't there. I had to look in the mirror and really understand it and empathize with it, and then understand that it came from survival and other things, and that it no longer needed to protect me, because I didn't need it anymore, and it was only doing me harm if I continued to hold on to that. So I experienced that, and it happened within a year. That tremendous transformation, which was life-changing, y'all. It was life-changing. And I'm still dealing with those things till this day, but it's so much easier to manage now. It's crazy. Like, I would have never thought 4 years ago, I would have never thought that anger wasn't going to be one of my biggest personality traits, and that I would have never knew that I would be able to, 1, control it, 2, understand it, and 3, be a better me. I just didn't understand what I needed to do to get there. And now that I'm there, I'm just like, wow, like, 1, I still have so much more to go, but another thing is that I can't believe the ability that we have as human beings to transform ourselves into our higher selves, our better selves. Like, we have that ability. We don't have to stay stuck doing anything, being anybody. We don't have to. Like, if there's something about the way that you act that is harmful or hurtful to you or the people around you, you have the ability to change it. Like, there is no excuse. There really isn't. You have the ability to change it. And so that's what I did. And I'm still continuing to, like, fortify all the healthy habits and beliefs that I've tried to incorporate into my life. And yeah. And now, here we are in 2022. I'm 24 years old, and I decided to start a YouTube channel dedicated to spirituality, self-development, growth, and everything else. And the younger me would be so shocked, because my whole life I wanted to be on YouTube, but I thought I was going to be on YouTube for makeup, for fashion, for all of that stuff. Never did I think I was going to be on YouTube pouring my heart out, connecting with spirit, connecting with you. I just would have never imagined it. And now that I'm here, it all makes sense. Yes, it's scary at times, but it just makes so much sense. And Spirit has helped me get here. And I'm like, every morning when I pray to Spirit, well, first of all, it's really important to start your day off with prayers, guys. Seriously, like you can literally snooze your alarm, and if you have to close your eyes and go back to sleep, at least just say thank you, God, before you go back to sleep. Seriously. I lost my train of thought. Let me take a sip of cocoa water. But yes, I'm so thankful for 41 subscribers. You guys, I am so blessed. You have no idea. You guys are so, like, when I see comments on my videos, they are just so uplifting. You guys have no idea. Like, people say, oh my God, your videos make me feel better. Well, guess what? Your comments make me feel better. And I can't thank you enough. I've always, like I said, I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I just never knew what for. And when I let the idea slip from my mind completely and I just kind of let go of it, Spirit took a hold of me and slapped me silly. And now I am on YouTube sharing my growth, my journey with you, sharing Spirit's love with you. And, you know, from here on until the day that I pass on, I am going to continue being guided by Spirit and being in service to Spirit and to you, and growing and learning and developing. Yeah, it's insane. I want to say this, which is something that I think about sometimes. In school, even elementary school, especially middle school, and especially high school, I remember being such an angry young woman. I was such an angry young woman. Always ready to pop off, always ready to catch an attitude, always ready to be on the defense. The defense. And now, my high school self would have never known that I would become a young adult with such an open heart. I never would have known that I could open my heart so big and allow love to just pour into me. And I've received so many blessings along the way. Oh my goodness, I could cry right now because I've just received so many blessings, and it's because I decided to see those blessings and be thankful for those blessings, because we're all blessed. We all have blessings, y'all. I don't care how much life sucks. You are being blessed. If you woke up this morning, you are being blessed. If you have the gift of eyesight, the gift of hearing, speaking, the ability to walk, you are blessed. And you have to see those things in order for more things to come in. And I used to live my life where I just always complained and always was blind to all the blessings around me. And I took the things that I shouldn't have taken for granted. And my hope and wish for every single one of you guys watching this video is to know that as soon as you guys start to work on yourselves, Spirit is going to help you. As soon as you give Spirit the green light to come into your life, work magic and wonder into you, you are opening the doorway to so much potential in your life. Truly, so much love, so much forgiveness. Oh my God. You guys have no idea how powerful the gift of forgiveness is. When you forgive, Spirit just like loves that. Spirit loves that so much. And just as soon as you open the doorway and you say, Spirit, I am yours. I am yours to pour into. I am yours to lead and guide and, share your intention with me. Share your purpose for me, with me. Show me the way. As soon as you start doing that, y'all, magic happens. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Sorry, I'm kicking this table. But I still get my mind blown till this day with how miraculous this world is. Seriously. I know that egos and, all the not so nice things that we experience in our lives don't feel good, right? In this life, we experience tremendous pain. We experience pain from the day we're born, right? It's uncomfortable to be born. No baby likes it. They start crying, especially when they get that little spank on the booty. But instead of allowing that pain to create your perception of your reality, you have to allow that pain to do its job, right? Pain is necessary. If we didn't experience pain, we wouldn't experience growth. We wouldn't experience healing, right? So I really encourage you to look at your pain as a blessing as well, because there is always something that needs to be changed or is wanting to be birthed into your life from pain. And it doesn't have to be that severe. Pain can be in the form of negative emotions. It can be, conflict in relationships. It can be, uncomfortableness or uncertainty. It can show up in our lives in many different forms. But that pain is always speaking to you, and it is always guiding you to your higher path. Always. Okay? Well, this is what I have for you guys today. I thank you for staying with me till the end. If you've made it to the end, I thank you and I appreciate you. If you liked this video and resonated with it, go ahead and like the video. And don't forget to subscribe, you guys. I post 2 times a week, every Tuesday and Friday. Every Tuesday and Friday, I post a new video on my channel. So be sure to click the bell notification. And I am looking forward to next week. I don't know what that will entail yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. And like I said, I love all your comments and feedback, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm wishing you all the love, all the insight, and all the healing. Okay? All right, bye for now. Take care.